Hello, welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's short story, The Gift by Olivia Julius. I opened the garage door that led into my house. Adam, my husband, greeted me, and the smell of his cooking made me pause for a second. It smelled so good. But I couldn't stop to smell his cooking. I must remember that I have a mission to complete. Hey, you're back early. He spoke. Is everything okay? Yeah. I replied. I held up a small box that had brown wrapping on it. I gave it a little shake and so it would pique his interest. Wait, is that? He asked, falling for the bait. It's for Destiny. I replied. Wait, is that? I stopped him and nodded my head while also telling him to keep it down. He nodded his head. Are you sure you want to give her that, Eric? Adam asked in a low whisper. You know what she was like before. I do. I said, but it's not our place to determine her fate. It's up to her to do that. I left the box in the kitchen and went into the living room. I halfway expected for Destiny to be in the living room watching TV. But when I didn't see her, I went to the staircase that led up to the upper floor and called her name. Just a minute. She yelled out. I could hear her bedroom door open and then close as she appeared at the top of the stairway. She looked at me and then smiled as she carefully walked down the stairs to where I was standing. Destiny is wearing a loose-fitting mint green top, a pale pink multi-layer skirt that goes just above her knees, and a pair of her silver flats. Her hair is now in braids behind her head, and her nails are all painted a pale pink. I have no idea how she got that girly. Before what had happened, Destiny hadn't shown any desire in girly clothes. Of course, that was before Destiny was a 12-year-old girl, and instead a 45-year-old man named Rick. 1 year ago, Rick had been brought on as the new warehouse manager at the place I work at. He always loathed me because while he managed the warehouse, he secretly wanted to be in my position. I was the head of research and development for the lab. The lab created chemicals that can alter a person's DNA and hopefully have the ability to fix cancer cells, dementia, and even mutate and rewrite DNA code so the blind can see again. I had no idea the research could be used the way it had been. I finally got tired of Rick's jokes. That morning the brainiac finally figured out that I was gay and was using that in his new wave of attacks. I could have gone low and pointed out that at least I was in a relationship, and that his wife had left him because of his constant anger problems, but I decided not to. I finally had enough. I marched into my lab and closed the door. My assistants were all at lunch, so I had the lab to myself. I walked over to the computer and told it to start making the 180 compound we had been working on. This wasn't going to hurt him. If everything worked as planned, then he would just be drinking advanced medicine that cures liver disease. I would get to watch him run to the toilet and take a dump for the next hour, and he'd get a very healthy liver. A win-win situation if you ask me. Things did not go to plan though. I poured the compound into Rick's water without him seeing and watched with glee as he took a large sip from it. He put his glass down on the table and then almost immediately collapsed on the ground. Shit. I said quietly as I and two other guys rushed over to him. He's just passed out. One of the guys said while checking his pulse. I smacked the emergency button on Rick's desk and the whole warehouse went on lockdown. The two men helped me put Rick into an unused office where I watched with horror as Rick started to change before our eyes. After an hour of constant watching, the compound had done its job. Emma, my assistant, reported that Rick had somehow become an 11-year-old girl. Somehow, no one ever figured out that I was the one who caused Rick's transformation. The incident was recorded as an accident. I volunteered to take the new girl to my house to continue to observe her and hope that the effects would eventually wear off. It didn't. Something odd did happen though. Rick's mind started to go from macho man to one that more closely represents a girl of his new age. A month after his transition, Rick, now Destiny, wanted to go out with some boys her new age that lived down the block. 2 months in and Destiny was wearing girls' clothes like a fashionista. I kept detailed records about the changes that were going on with Destiny. I even talked to her ex-wife and confirmed that Rick/Destiny had no prior history of ever having wanting to wear girl clothes. Once the school year started, Destiny met and became friends with an all-girl friend group. It was their first year of middle school, and they all tried out for and became cheerleaders. Destiny still remembered that she had been a man named Rick. But now that seemed to be just a dream to her. Something that had happened in the far distant past. It looked like Rick was gone. Destiny, however, was here to stay. That is until today. What is it, Uncle Eric? Destiny asked. Since her transition into girlhood, we decided that her cover story should be that I am her uncle and my made-up sister's daughter. She didn't have to keep calling me Uncle Eric, but I think she mostly did it to remind herself that she was supposed to be playing my niece. Close your eyes, Destiny, I said, holding the box behind my back. I heard a sigh from the other room as I imagined Destiny was rolling her eyes about how weird she thought I was being. "They're closed," came a reply from the other room. I peeked around the corner and saw that Destiny had her hands in front of her face covering her eyes. She was sitting on the back of the couch with her feet on the cushions. Something that I had told her not to do multiple times. She just never listened. I thought about telling her to get down before I gave her the gift, but I didn't want to spoil the mood. I walked over to her and for a moment considered whether I should give the gift to her. I mean, she has been part of the family for a year now. Plus, Adam was right. She had been so cruel to me back when she was Rick. But I knew that wasn't fair. So, with a sigh I stuck my hand out. "Open them." Destiny opened her eyes and looked at the box in front of her. Cautiously she took the box from my outstretched hand and looked it over. "What's in it?" she asked questionably. "Well, you got to open it and find out," I said, smiling. Destiny slowly opened the packaging. Once she tore through the packaging, she opened the little wooden box that was inside. "Is this?" she asked when she saw the glass test tube inside. "It is," I confirmed. I expected Destiny to say that she didn't want it. I always wondered if she was happier as a girl than as a man. But as soon as she saw it, I could see tears start to form in her eyes. "Finally," she said, "when can I take it?" "Now if you want," I replied. "Oh, thank you," she said, crying happy tears, and then she surprised me by hugging me around my neck. "You're welcome, Destiny," I said as she let go and then grabbed the glass tube. She opened it up and drank the clear fluid inside. About a minute later I helped the now passed out girl onto the sofa. The changes hadn't started yet, but I knew it was a matter of time. "That was beautiful," Adam said emotionally. "I know," I replied. "But here's the hard part." I pulled out another box with a glass tube in it. I opened it up, took out the tube, and put the tube up to the light. "What's that, Eric?" Adam asked questionably and a little bit concerned. I was only allowed to turn Destiny back into a guy if there was a substitute. I looked back over to Destiny, who was started to become a little taller due to the effects of the compound. Rick didn't agree to become Destiny. I promised Rick when he very first turned that if there was a way to turn him back I would. This is the way. When I wake up I'll be near identical to Destiny. I'll continue with her life so Rick can return with his. "Eric, you can't," Adam pleaded, but before he could talk me out of what I was planning I quickly uncorked the tube, tilted my head back, and drank the compound. My vision became blurry as I stumbled. Adam caught me as I started to fall at his feet. Last thing I saw was Rick's Destiny form laying on the couch. I awoke. I looked around the room and then my eyes focused on both Rick and Adam. Rick was still wearing the same clothes as Destiny. The clothes were now stretched out and tight on him. "Did it work?" I asked. Adam reached over to the end table and grabbed a small compact that belonged to Destiny. He opened it up and let me see my reflection in the mirror. "It worked," Adam said. "Welcome to your new body, Destiny." Rick said, "Take good care of her."